It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 847. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and subscribing to the show. Please visit the main website at miketechshow.com. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at miketechshow@gmail.com. Please don't forget to visit my YouTube page where you can subscribe and get all the latest videos as I post them up. And that's youtube.com/Michael Smith MTS. This show is brought to you by Instant House Call. Remotely support your customers unattended and on demand for remote access. If you are an IT pro or an MSP, this is the best remote access that you can have for supporting your clients. And you can try it free for 15 days by just clicking on the link on my website at the left-hand side, or just go directly to instanthousecall.com. Use the promo code Mike Tech Show, and you will get your 15-day free trial. Kick the tires, test it out. You will come back and subscribe and purchase it. This show is also brought to you by MagnusBox. This is the best online backup that you can provide your clients. Or maybe you're at an organization where you can roll it out to multiple systems. MagnusBox, you can become a partner. It's very easy. Just go to magnusbox.com and try the demo. It supports all Windows operating systems. Windows Server, Windows 10, Windows 11, Linux, Mac OS, everything you need. It supports backing up Office 365. They're HIPAA compliant. If you mention that you heard it here on the Mike Tech Show, you will get free white label support, and for your first 3 months, half off the platform fee. Give it a try. Go to magnusbox.com. All right. So we're doing the show this afternoon on a Saturday because the Phillies were rained out on Monday. I had this all planned with the Phillies playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They were off on Thursday, and I'd be able to do my show. Well, it was rained out in Philadelphia on Monday, and that forced moving the schedule. So I needed to regroup and reschedule the show. And so now it's Saturday afternoon. The Phillies, unfortunately, lost their last 2 games. So now they got to win on the road this weekend. And I'm rooting for them. Obviously, anybody who's been listening for a while knows I am a huge Phillies fan. And you could tell by my room, my office down here in Florida is completely decorated and surrounded by Phillies memorabilia all over the place. So go Phillies. And I'm in my, I have a collared shirt on today you can check out on YouTube. And my blue and red Phillies hat. This is the hat they normally wear on Sundays when they're wearing their the off-white, I guess like almost like a beige uniform on day games. So, all right, couple things, and then I'm going to begin. I have a great show here. Show schedule for the next few weeks. Next week, the show has to be Wednesday night. So November 9th will be the next show because Thursday, my wife's coming back down, and I just, haven't seen her in a couple weeks, so that'll be great, and I don't want to be doing the show Thursday night when she arrives. So no show Thursday. It's going to be Wednesday. Then the following 2 weeks, no shows. On vacation in Orlando with my wife the following week, and that's also my birthday, November 17th. And then the following Thursday is Thanksgiving. Going to be back in Pennsylvania. So here's what we're going to do. The next show after the 9th will be Saturday, the 26th, right after Thanksgiving. Then we're going to try to get back to a little bit of a normal schedule, but I am going to be going back and forth in December between Pennsylvania and Florida because I got a couple events and a couple things happening. So anyway, wanted to go over that. A reminder, a couple things. If you're in a time zone where tonight is the clocks go back an hour, so it's fall back. Tonight we gain an extra hour sleep. And I know there's a bill and it's got to pass. I'm not sure if it's the House or the Senate, but to try to eliminate that. That'll be interesting because I hate when it gets dark early. I wouldn't mind them eliminating doing this twice a year. So let's see. And then I have to mention this because I'm not one to regularly buy a lottery ticket. I just don't. I mean, I don't like throwing the money away. But when it's 1.6 billion, well, yeah, I'm going to buy some tickets. So after the show, I'm going to be running some errands and I am going to be getting some tickets. And certainly since it hit $1 billion, I've been buying, so just had to throw that out there. That's the Powerball. And tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern time is the drawing, and that'll be 1.6 billion. And, it's funny. And this is tech here now as we head into this. I was thinking about that. What if I did win? What if I was fortunate enough to be able to win? I mean, all the obvious stuff, you pay off all your bills, you pay off your, you get nicer car. I would build a nicer studio. Would I stop doing this? No. Would I stop consulting? No, because I enjoy that so much. Now, I don't know if $1 billion would change my mind, but I don't want to be bored. And what are you got to do something. You got to be able to get up in the morning and do something. It's like I'll never retire. I'm always going to be working because I enjoy it. And doing the consulting work feeds the show. And this show is not just sharing the information and everything. It's my personal therapy doing this show. That's why I'll go off on tangents and I'll talk about everything. I need it. It helps me. So it would just be better equipment, and a better studio. That's what at least that's what I would think now. So good luck to everybody who plays. And boy, I would love to hear from a listener telling me that they won and what you intend to do. That would be incredible. So easing into stories from the trenches, which is what this week is really all about. And except for some security tips when browsing, which is thank you, Taz, where I seen that link and he can't be with us today. He's traveling and he's a moderator normally, Taz. So hope you're having fun, Mike. I was connected to a server with Instant House Call, and it was a horrible experience on the server because Explorer, I think, was crashing or had a problem, or what really needed to be done. I had to end the task for Explorer EXE. So I remotely send the Control-Alt-Delete and Instant House Call. Then I kill Explorer, and it just doesn't relaunch and come back. So now I got to execute remotely the run command from Task Manager to run Explorer EXE. So keep that in mind. If you have a crazy desktop issue, something happening, restart Explorer, end the task, and then relaunch it. And even remotely, everything came back and it started working really well. And I was able to, finish what I needed to do. And I just thought that was great to share because a lot of times we're in a slow situation or a problem. And I just, wanted to make sure that I wanted to share that simple thing to just kind of keep in your back pocket. There are now a couple links that I am going to review, which is resetting an admin password with BitLocker installed. Here's the scenario. The user was forced to change their password because they have to do that every 90 days. There's software running on their system to keep them compliant that forces that password change. User changes her password. Problem is, I don't know what was wrong with the keyboard or what was wrong with her typing it twice, but she must have typed it incorrectly twice because she could never get back in. And it was so frustrating. I'm on the phone and we're going over everything. I said, hey, try another keyboard. Maybe something's going wrong with the keyboard. We tried everything. No joy. She could not get in. And she swore, this is the password. I know. I absolutely know this is the password. And this is a user that this does not happen to. So there had to be an extraordinary event happening here. But because of FINRA compliance, the system's whole hard drive encrypted with BitLocker. So this is Windows 10 Pro with BitLocker. And I dispatched my son the next day to go on site with the USB media because there's a trick which is copying the file and going through this whole process where you don't even need special software and you can, by the command line, reset the password. Well, guess what? When BitLocker is installed, you can't see the real C drive. Even if you boot up with another, piece of media. So you have to unlock the drive. And this is where this first link is just incredible, which is the command line. As long as you have the BitLocker key. Not only did we have a copy of the key because we're the ones who set BitLocker, and if we were responsible for BitLocker, we have the key, but my client also had a copy of the key, which was great. So I'm walking my son through this where you have to type manage-BDE, and first you hit the space -status, and it gets you a full status of the drives, all the volumes. And we see volume C, the lock status is locked. So now, this link is very important for this command line. Manage-BDE space -unlock space C:, space -recovery password, one word, capital R, capital P, space, and then the BitLocker recovery key. And guess what? It's unlocked. Then you can do the copy procedure where you're now just copying what you're doing is you're copying CMD over utilman.exe. So very, very cool. And what you do is you just rename utilman and then you copy that. Now you can boot and click on the key for it basically runs utilman and it opens a command prompt instead of that utility to help you enter. So once you do that and you're at the command prompt, now you can do net user. So you can do net user, and what's really good is you can go net user and create a new user and set the password, and then you can add them to the administrators group. This is just two great links, which is what you really need that I'm having in the show notes for this trick on resetting the password or creating a new account, but also how to handle it when the drive is BitLockered. So very cool. And I think those links are worthy of keeping. So now, couple little stories of how I help clients. Client called me, couldn't access the Synology, and I couldn't get into it remotely from outside the organization. I said, "Is your internet up?" "Yes, internet up, network's up, everything's great. We just can no longer connect to the Synology." And long story short, spent a few minutes with them going over everything, even rebooting the Synology. And then it dawned on me, is it even possible that the network cable got unplugged? Well, yes. They don't know how. They don't know why. But the Cat 6 cable was unplugged from the network jack on the back of the Synology. They plugged it in. A couple seconds later, everything's working. Everything's running. So that was great. So now, working remotely with a project that we were setting up a site-to-site VPN with a client. This is that big project. We're finally finishing it up this week. Well, one of the sites has just 3 users of VoIP system that after we got the VPN tunnel working perfectly and we tested it, well, the handsets couldn't phone home. And we're like, what's going on? And they said, yeah, but you know what? This hasn't been working for a month or so. And it's great. Found a rogue router that someone plugged in just to get some Wi-Fi, and they created another network. And of course, the IP address is feeding the phones, because that's how we noticed the phones were pulling 192.168. They should have been pulling 10, like 10.5, what we had set for that network. And once you start looking at the IP addresses of everything, then you get to see where is it pulling from. So don't forget that when you're diagnosing a network issue. What's the IP address? What's the gateway? What's the subnet mask? What's the DNS? Make sure you can try to pull that, especially printer problems. Where is the printer grabbing the IP address? Or is it an old static IP address that should have been changed? I've ran into everything. But once we see that there's a 192, we're like, okay, you got to hunt that down. Who's giving out a 192 address? Well, there's this rogue router. Unplug that. Boom. Phone's working. Everything good. So just another troubleshooting tip. This tip that I'm going to give you on a wireless mouse, my client is still stunned when I told him what to do. It fixed the problem, and this has fixed many, many problems. And if you haven't heard me talk about this in the past, this is one that you want to keep. The wireless mouse starts jumping and having problems and just skipping every now and then, and it's not behaving properly. So, here's what you do. You need a short extension cable. 1 foot, 2 foot, just a short extension cable. You go to the port where the transmitter is. You plug that extension cable in and then plug that in. Plug the transmitter at the end of the extension cable. Bang, your problem is solved. When my client called me, and he's one to always be suspicious of everything, even though he trusts me, but he started telling me about the mouse. I said, I have the fix. Yeah, but I haven't even finished telling. I said, I have the fix. I said, do you have any kind of an extension cable? He said, I don't know. I'll find. I said, trust me. You go get that extension cable. You go plug it in. So I said, then when you get it, call me back. Even if you have to run to a store and buy it, see if you can go to a Best Buy or a Staples or something and just get this extension. He found one. He plugged it in, and the text and the emails that I got was unbelievable. I can't believe this worked. This problem impacted me right here on this computer that I'm recording this show on a couple years ago. And it was when I got my UPS and plugged it in to the USB port right beside where the transmitter was for my wireless mouse. Now, I didn't realize that finally that this was what caused the problem, and you can't have that transmitter is too tight to the USB, and a lot of the other USBs, anything you got plugged in, it interferes with it. And that's why you got to take that away, and that's why you need the extension. That took me a week of research to find that out. So this is one of those things that if you hear this, just you now have a solution in your back pocket. Okay, couple other tips. Slow system. These are the first things I do when someone complains their system is slow. Well, of course you got to clean for malware, but even before that, I run Control-Alt-Delete and get Task Manager, and then go to Startup, and I disable everything I can because everything doesn't need to start up. I clean that. Then I go into Settings, Apps, and I sort by what was just recently installed. And if it wasn't an update to major software, if it was some kind of rogue program or something that I don't understand, I get rid of it. Then I reboot. Then I begin cleaning. So that is something that I always do, and it makes the cleaning process go faster. So just wanted to throw that out there. All right. PDFs. Boy, I wish we can prevent Microsoft from constantly changing our default PDF viewer. Why do they just keep shoving Edge down our throat to do that when 99% of my clients need Adobe? And we constantly get calls where they're having some kind of PDF issue and the client doesn't realize, but we realize it because we see the picture of the icon right away. And 2 more clients this week I had to change where Edge was the default, and I had to make the change to make Adobe the default PDF viewer. And they pay for Adobe. So this is the full, Adobe DC. Anyway, just an annoyance. Another annoyance here, if you're a Mac user. And my MacBook, I haven't had it on in a few weeks, and I just haven't needed it, and I haven't been traveling. So I open up, and OS Ventura, the latest update, is available. So I'm like, okay, I'll install it. Well, if you have security software, and it seems like it's not just Malwarebytes, but if you have any security software, there is a bug and a problem in OS Ventura that prevents your security software, great bug, that prevents your security software from working. And you have to either completely uninstall it and then reinstall. But interesting, I tried to install the latest Malwarebytes over top of it, and that did not work. So one of the things, I have a link that you need to be able to do if you run into this problem, is you have to disable the full disk access in the permissions, which, by the way, they did a massive change on preferences and permissions. And this is where, it goes ugly. And once you disable, you have to open security settings, security preferences, full disk access, and click the minus and remove. And for me, it was Malwarebytes. I removed the access. Then I redid it, flipped the switch to give it full disk access again, and it's working. And it was able to run. It was able to update. This is not a Malwarebytes issue. This is an Apple issue. So I wanted to make everybody aware, and that's why I'm mentioning this. Normally, I don't go into this detail with the OS, but there are some issues with Ventura. So they are working on a 13.1. It's in beta. But guess what? The beta reviewer, where this one article that I'm reading, it doesn't fix this problem. Well, really? This is a big problem. Why would you not address that in 13.1? I don't know. I don't get it. So this it's just funny. All right. Let's see. I need to pause here. I'm pausing the audio recording because I don't have my other link. All right. Let's get to. There we go. Nope. Okay, so let's click on the link on. There we go. All right, give me a second here as I clean up the screen. And I will show everybody the link here. All right. So I wanted to continue. Mike Cooley, Taz, he got me. I seen him post a link for 50 plus security tips to protect yourself when browsing online. And I thought, hey, you know what? Not a bad thing to try here and go over and just have this link. So this is from Make Use Of, and we're just going to quickly just go through this. Avoid obvious passwords that are easy to guess. Don't use passwords that can be guessed on your personal information like a date of birth. Everybody uses dates of birth. Females use date of births from their kids, and males tend to pick pet names. Interesting. Alternately, mix cases. This is just for there's like 10 tips here on passwords. Browsing. If you don't recognize a link, don't click on it. This is a great set of tips that I'm thinking of just capturing this in these 50 tips and just make sure clients that do this all the time, they're never going to obey them all, but there you go. Click the address bar to ensure you're on the website that you think you are on, making sure to double check that you have an HTTPS connection. To me, that's more important if you're going to be giving any kind of information on that website. They go over social media. There's a bunch of tips. Everything you put online is permanent. That is so hard, and that's what you have to educate your children, your grandchildren. Yeah, it's there forever. Even if you delete it, it's not gone. And it'll. How many times have we seen social media posts where the person has lost their job, or the person didn't get into college, or something didn't happen with their employer properly because of social media? You got to be careful. Antivirus, things to avoid: encrypt private data and don't share the encryption key with anybody else. We have email. Don't email. Sender can be spoofed. Don't recognize the sender, not expecting that email. Don't open it. A lot of these are so obvious, but when you see them in a nice list here, I think it's very, very helpful. Smartphone tips, software tips. Make sure you're always current and updating everything. Don't install random browser extensions. By the way, that is something we always run into, where users complain of their browser being too slow, having issues. That's another thing to go, what have they installed with their extensions? And start disabling extensions. And sometimes that's where you get, from an untrusted publisher, bad actors installing really bad extensions that are slowing your system, Don't send and receive sensitive data over public Wi-Fi connections. Protect your phone with a PIN, pattern, or fingerprint. Absolutely. You can't just leave your phone unlocked anymore. And, it's nice that even Apple forced that a few years ago, where they really force you into that, where you got to pick an unlock code, and I'm really glad. So this is by the author Joe Keeley, and it's a really good, I think, worthy of keeping, worthy of maybe making, taking this and having a nice list or send this to clients where they can, they can help themselves a little bit. So let's, that really helps. Okay. Hold on. I am looking for my display capture. There we go. All right. So now let me get to the final two emails for today's show. And this is, I think I have everything. Oh, no. Before I get to the emails, okay. I want to know, what are you using, if anything, that prevents spam texts and calls on your cell phone? I am getting killed. I'm blocking them as they come in. I get 2 to 3 a day. It is the most annoying thing that, wanting to give me a loan, wanting to give me, before it used to be, increasing the warranty on my car. Now it's trying to give me money, and it's all bogus. And what are you using? I'm not using any special software. I thought it was doing a good job where T-Mobile has a thing you can invoke to help block spam calls, and I think it was working for a while, but now, man, they found a way around it. It's just horrible. So let me know. Send me, what are you using that it's working, and a link to that software or to that download, whether it's iPhone or Android. Send me both, and I will collect them and do a segment on a future show to help everybody. So really, really need your help on that. Thank you. Let's give me a second here. I got to pause. I lost the 2 emails. Hold on a second. Nope. Okay. Give me a second here. So the Evernote, where did the email? I had a PDF. I had a really nice PDF here of the 2 emails, and let's do this one first. Okay. All right. Okay, I have the 2 emails. This is from Bill. Hi, Mike. I know that you love Fabs, but with this deal, you can even move the programs and for less cost. I've used it. It did not work well with the antivirus, but all else was great. And this is LapLink, which is PC Mover. And years ago, I used to use PC Mover, and you used to get with LapLink, you got a little LapLink cable to transfer between one system and another. That was pretty cool. I got to admit, I have not used this in a long time. So something to think about, because this attempts to transfer the programs, not just the data, where Fabs does not transfer programs. It does do the data. Fabs does a tremendous job. Something to take a look at for a one-off here and see if you like it. So thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. And the final email, this is from another Michael, and he said, I heard of DAC board for Home Assistant. I haven't used it because I rent and only have Alexa in my room to turn off lights and PCs. I also have a hospital grade air mattress that I can turn on and off. The only smart thing I have is the lock on my front door. My landlord and husband likes it too. Michael sent me a great link of all of the YouTube. He filters it by DAC Home Assistant. So you know the last few shows I talked and mentioned and been sharing stuff about DAC board. Great ways to deploy a DAC board at home. I love the one for the man cave. There's just advanced smart home dashboards made easy. These are all great YouTube videos with tutorials. Michael, thank you so much. That's also going to be in the show notes for today's show. Remember, next week the show will be Wednesday night. That's it, everybody. Have a great weekend. Don't forget, if you're in the time zone, clocks go back an hour tonight. And then, hey, 1.6 billion, you got to buy a ticket for the Powerball tonight. You just have to. So, all right, that's it. Go Phillies. Hopefully next week I'm talking about a Phillies World Series victory. Bye-bye, everybody.